The desert doesn't offer comfort, it offers challenges. But for the ostrich, that challenge is a calling. With legs like coiled springs and eyes that scan the horizon, they dash across the sands, not just in search of food, but in pursuit of something more. A chance to dance, to defend, to raise the next generation under the open sky. They're giants in a world of heat and dust, swift, alert, and strangely noble. And behind each powerful stride lies a story of strategy, survival, and unexpected tenderness. In this video, we'll dive into the evolution of ostriches and how they develop the unique behavior of laying eggs in a shared nest. If you're curious about their reproductive strategies, be sure to watch until the end. Adult ostriches are giants among birds, standing as tall as 9 feet and weighing between 220 to 300 pounds. Males are typically larger than females, and with their powerful legs, they're not just the tallest and heaviest birds on Earth. They're also among the fastest, capable of running over 40 miles per hour. The word ostrich comes from the ancient Greek struthion megas, meaning large sparrow. It may not fly, but the ostrich doesn't need to. Built for speed, strength, and endurance, it thrives in open, unforgiving landscapes where only the most adaptable survive. In the wide-open plains where shelter is scarce and danger can come from any direction, ostriches aren't completely on their own. They often move alongside herds of zebras and antelopes, unlikely allies in a land where every sense matters. Zebras bring sharp hearing, antelopes rely on their sense of smell, and ostriches contribute their unmatched eyesight. Together, they form an invisible network of early warning systems, each animal tuned into a different frequency of threat. When one senses danger, the others follow, creating a wave of silent understanding that can save an entire group. This quiet cooperation, though fragile, is one of the smartest strategies on the savanna. But even with this alliance, threats are never far away. Jackals lurk just out of sight, hyenas patrol the twilight, and cheetahs lie in wait in the tall grass. Overhead, eagles circle with sharp eyes, locked on wandering chicks. Ostrich young are particularly vulnerable, and adult birds know it. When danger strikes, they don't panic. They act. The adults gather the chicks, forming a protective ring. Some will flare their feathers and face the threat head-on, others sprint in the opposite direction, drawing the predator away from the group. And if forced to fight, an ostrich's powerful legs can deliver a deadly kick. In this harsh world, strength lies not just in size or speed, but in awareness, cooperation, and courage. When the dry season gives way to the first signs of green, the ostrich begins a different kind of race. One not of speed, but of attention. Out on the dusty plains, males prepare for a ritual as old as the species itself. With wings low and feathers fanned wide, a male lowers his chest to the earth and sways in slow, deliberate motions. His black and white plumage flashes under the sun like a waving flag, and with each sway, he sends a message to the passing females. Choose me. He stomps, he rattles, he twirls. It's not just about strength. It's about rhythm, patience, and persistence. But love here doesn't last. Once the dance ends and the female is satisfied, she moves on, sometimes to another male entirely. Ostriches aren't monogamous, and the bonds they form are brief. Still, the male remains in his chosen territory, ready to perform again for the next potential mate. Over time, he may mate with several females, each leaving behind a piece of the future in the form of an egg. Though he shares none of the glamour of courtship afterward, he'll take on a far greater task, guarding the nest, watching over the young, and playing the steady father figure in a system where loyalty isn't romantic, it's strategic. Rather than building separate nests scattered across the land, ostriches do something unusual. They share. The male begins by scraping a shallow bowl into the earth, just wide enough to hold what's coming. This simple hollow becomes the center of a reproductive hub, a communal nursery where multiple females will arrive, one by one, to deposit their eggs. In just a few days, this unassuming patch of dirt can hold as many as 60 eggs, each belonging to a different mother, but all entrusted to the same male. It's a system that defies expectations. While others roam free, the father stays rooted, taking on the full responsibility of incubation. But he's not entirely alone. Among the visiting females, one stands out, the dominant hen. Unlike the others, she doesn't simply lay and leave. She stays. She recognizes this nest not just as a pit of eggs, but as her own throne. Together with the male, she shares the long task of incubation. She takes the day shift, shielding the eggs from the hot sun. He takes the night watch, keeping them warm beneath the stars. And she's no passive partner. She can identify which eggs are hers, and will gently nudge them toward the safest center of the nest, leaving the others at the edge, where survival is less certain. In this dusty cradle, the future of many begins, but not all are given equal odds. For a bird that can stand over 9 feet tall and weigh more than 300 pounds, you might expect the ostrich to lay a truly massive egg, and in a way, it does. Ostrich eggs are the largest of any living bird, but relative to their body size, they're actually smaller than expected. At first glance, that seems like a contradiction, but nature rarely does anything without a reason. These small eggs are easier to arrange in the shallow communal nest and allow the adults to incubate many at once, up to 20 under a single set of wings. Each female typically lays only about 7 eggs in a season. On her own, that would limit her chances of raising a large brood. But in a communal nest, things change. The shared structure means more eggs get protected, more warmth is spread across a wider area, and the collective effort of one male and a dominant female boosts survival odds for all. In the harsh, open plains, where predators, heat, and scarcity are constant challenges, this isn't just smart. It's evolution working at full efficiency. Fewer limits, more opportunity, and a better shot at passing on genes to the next generation. From the moment they hatch, ostrich chicks arrive with eyes wide open and legs already strong enough to keep up. There's no time for helplessness in the wild. Within hours, they wobble into formation, tiny shadows trailing behind their towering parents. No need for spoon-feeding or gentle coddling. These chicks must learn by doing. They watch the adults closely, mimicking the way they peck at plants when they freeze in place, and how they move in unison when the wind shifts or danger lurks. Each step is part of a silent lesson in survival, taught not with words, but with movement and instinct. As more broods hatch across the plains, something remarkable happens. Groups of chicks from different families begin to merge, forming loose, mobile nurseries. These mini flocks offer more than just company. They provide safety in numbers. With dozens of little legs marching together, it becomes harder for predators to isolate a single target. The adults, though few, keep watch over the growing crowd, guiding them between feeding spots and shade. In this harsh environment, every extra eye and every extra sibling-like companion increases their odds. And so, from the very beginning, ostriches don't just walk. They walk together. Life in the savannah is never gentle, especially not for a chick standing only a foot tall in a world of teeth, claws, and scorching heat. Even with protective parents nearby, young ostriches must navigate daily hazards from the moment they hatch. The sun bears down relentlessly, and water can be scarce for miles. Predators don't wait long. Jackals creep in the twilight, eagles dive from above, and snakes slither silently beneath the sand. Every movement matters. A moment too slow, a misstep too far from the group, and the odds of survival begin to fade. At night the dangers shift, but they don't disappear. Without nests or burrows, the chicks rely on their parents and the sand itself for warmth and safety. They huddle close, tucking under wings or pressing into shallow pits to avoid the cool air and sharp eyes of nocturnal hunters. It's in these vulnerable moments that the value of communal rearing becomes clear. With more adults standing guard and more chicks grouped together, there are more chances for alarm, distraction, and defense. In a place where few reach adulthood, every extra ally can mean the difference between life and loss. For years, much of the ostrich's life remained a mystery, hidden beneath the heat haze of the savanna and the veil of their silent rituals. But today, science is catching up. With the help of tracking collars, motion-sensitive cameras, and even tiny thermal sensors tucked discreetly in nests, researchers can now observe these birds in ways never possible before. They've uncovered how long males stay on eggs without eating, how females time their visits, and how adults respond to sudden threats. Through these eyes of technology, the private world of the ostrich begins to unfold, frame by frame. Beyond the field, another kind of discovery is taking place. In the lab, genetic studies are revealing how ostrich populations across Africa differ in their DNA, in their behavior, and even in their parenting styles. These findings aren't just fascinating, they're crucial. They help conservationists understand which groups are most vulnerable, how breeding programs should be designed, and what traits help chicks survive in different environments. By blending observation with innovation, scientists are giving ostriches something they've never had before, a future shaped not just by instinct and sand, but by knowledge. Across the globe, other flightless giants have crafted their own parenting playbooks, each adapted to the challenges of their unique landscapes. In the grasslands of South America, the greater rhea follows a system similar to the ostrich, but with a twist. While several females lay their eggs in a single male's nest, it's the male, and only the male, who takes on the role of caregiver. He incubates the eggs, guards them fiercely, and raises the chicks alone, even enlisting the help of other bachelor males to look after one brood while he starts another. For the rhea, fatherhood is both a full-time job and a solo act. In Australia, the emu plays it differently. These birds form monogamous pairs during the breeding season, but once the eggs are laid, the female quietly walks away. The male stays, faithfully incubating the clutch and protecting the young as they hatch and grow. Farther back in time, in the forests of ancient New Zealand, the now extinct moa likely followed a similar script. Fossil evidence suggests that males were smaller than females and probably handled incubation themselves, especially since the eggshells were unusually thin and fragile. And in Madagascar, the legendary elephant bird, taller than any human and heavier than any other bird in history, laid enormous, thick-shelled eggs. Some scientists believe their durability may have allowed both parents to share incubation, especially in a land once filled with predators. Across continents and across eras, these flightless birds have rewritten the rules of parenting, each in their own remarkable way. Beyond its remarkable size and speed, the ostrich has held cultural significance for centuries across the African continent. In ancient Egypt, ostrich feathers were sacred, symbols of truth, balance, and divine justice. The goddess Ma'at, who governed cosmic harmony, wore a single ostrich plume on her head, and her feather was used to weigh the souls of the dead. In other regions of Africa, Ostriches have been seen as both practical providers and mystical figures. Their eggshells, used for carrying water and crafted into jewelry, were tokens of life and survival. Among San and Himba communities, ostrich egg beads were exchanged in rituals symbolizing unity, family, and continuity. The bird's sharp vision and grounded nature gave rise to stories where the ostrich stood as a guardian spirit, wise, watchful, and connected to the rhythms of the earth. In modern culture, the ostrich has taken on a curious duality. On one hand, it's admired for its grandeur, often used as a symbol of untamed wilderness and natural power. On the other, it's sometimes misunderstood or portrayed comically, known for the myth that it hides its head in the sand. Yet even this misconception points to something deeper: our fascination with the tension between boldness and vulnerability. In truth, the ostrich is far from cowardly. It faces danger head-on, defends its young fiercely, and thrives in some of the harshest environments on Earth. For centuries, the ostrich has ruled as Earth's largest bird, not through strength alone, but through strategy. In the harshest of landscapes, it thrives by raising its young together, sharing roles, and outsmarting danger. Its nest isn't just a hole in the ground, it's a fortress of teamwork, a cradle of survival. And that brings us to the end of today's journey. If you enjoyed this glimpse into the wild world of ostriches, give the video a like, subscribe for more, and let us know, what's your favorite bird behavior in nature? Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again in the next video.